You're listening to Rabbi Aryeh Wolbe, Director of Torch, the Torah Outreach Resource Center of Houston. This is the Jewish Inspiration Podcast.
And now, my dear friends, we resume with day 109 in the Treasure for Life edition of the Orchos Tzaddikim, the Ways of the Righteous, in the Gate of Remembrance. And only 2 more days until we conclude this gate. And what is it now? Ho'esrim v'shmona, the 28th thing to remember on page 632 on top. Sheyizkor mi shenosan beiso le'adam b'matana gemura v'rotzeh mekabel aros v'livnos lefidato shelo yuchal anosin la'akev ki kvar hotzio mitachas yado kach yimsor adam es nafsho v'es ishto v'es bono v'es kol mamono b'yad Hashem yizbarach v'yiyeh hakol nosun lo b'matana v'kevon shemitchilo Mussar atzmo liyad Hashem yizbarach Harei sam bitchono al Hashem yizbarach ukvar he'emin libo lekabel me'ahavo ma sheyigzor habore yizbarach olav. A person must remember, says the author, if given a house as an outright gift, if someone gives a house to their friend, it's yours. Here's the deed. It's your house. Take it. And then the person, the recipient, wishes to tear it down and build it new. Can the giver stop him? No. You gave it out as a gift. You can't stop him any longer. He says, so too should one give his soul, his wife, his children, and all he owns to Hashem. What does that mean? Make an outright gift of it all. My marriage, my children, I'm dedicating to you, Hashem. What does that mean, I'm dedicating it to you? To your service. I'm not taking it for my pleasure. I'm not taking it for my fulfillment. I'm here to serve you, Hashem. And all that he owns to give to Hashem, making an outright gift of it all. Having placed himself from the beginning in Hashem's hands, he has put his trust in Hashem and resolved faithfully in his heart to accept with love whatever Hashem decrees upon him. Hashem, everything I have is yours. I recognize that. Everything I have is yours. So you know what? Whatever you decide to do, I accept with love. With absolute love. And even if God did not send him any evil, lo al gufo v'lal mamono, not on his physical body, not on his money, v'lal bono v'lal ishto, no illness, nothing bad comes to his family, not to his children, not to his wife, not to him. Yesh lo sochar gadol al dato hanechona asher heichin libo lizbol hakol la'avas yotzro. He gets an unbelievable reward, notwithstanding, because he was ready to give up everything for God. That has to be the way we live our lives. Live in a way that you're ready to give up everything for Hashem. I'm willing to do everything. Opa. Right? So a person needs to ensure that they're ready to commit themselves to the Almighty. I commit myself and everything that I have in my life to the service of Hashem. The biggest collection in our home should be our books. The place, but just by the way, it's an important thing. But notwithstanding that, my grandfather of blessed memory, when he got married, his young man, what was he? Probably 35 when he got married. He got married a little late because the Holocaust got in the way, So got married, and he thought he was pretty wise. One of the rabbis came to him during Sheva Brachos, during the 7 days of celebration after the wedding. The rabbi says to him, oh, this is your house. He says, what's the holiest room in your house? My grandfather proudly said, what do you mean? This room where I study Torah, where I sit here and learn Torah, that's the most important room. The rabbi said to him, no, that's incorrect. He said, your bedroom is the holiest room in the house. The way you treat your wife, how you treat her. That is the test of your holiness, not how much you learn. Because if you are the holiest, righteous man learning Torah all day and you neglect your wife, it's worthless. You neglect your children, it's worthless. That's your number one responsibility. Your number one responsibility is your wife. Number one. Numero uno. That's your primary responsibility. My grandfather even says that a man really doesn't need to learn how to educate his children. He only needs to know how to be a good husband. Because if there's a happy wife, you'll have happy, healthy children too. That's your job. Make your wife happy. Make sure you take care of her, because if she's happy and she's taken care of, guaranteed your kids will be taken care of. It's an amazing thing. Just as a side note, I said this recently in a class and the guys were going crazy. My grandfather says that the first half hour when you come home doesn't belong to you. It belongs to your wife. Imagine that. You walk into the house, kids are hanging from the chandeliers, right? You have dinner on the table, you have kids running around, you have knapsacks and homework and this, everything, all hell is breaking loose. And here comes Prince Charming, comes home and he's hungry and he just wants to sit down and have a quiet dinner. No. First half hour doesn't belong to you. First half hour belongs to her. She's dealing with chaos. It started at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, whenever the kids got home. Now you walk in, Prince Charming, at 7 o'clock, you're expecting to have a hot dinner waiting for you. First thing you need to remember is the first half hour belongs to your wife. Belongs to her. My rabbi would add to this. He says, on your way home, have a fruit. Have something so that you don't come home starving. Because the problem is we're hangry, right? Hungry, angry. No, don't come home hungry. Eat something on your way home. When you drive home, eat a little snack, eat an apple, eat a banana, eat something so you're not starving. So that the first half hour you can focus on your spouse. I think it's a very fundamental principle. Because if I realize that this is my service of Hashem is, people don't understand how important marriage is in our service of Hashem. Because the relationship we have with our spouse is a reflection of our relationship with Hashem. So if the relationship we have with our spouse is superb, I guarantee you the relationship with Hashem is superb. And if the relationship with our spouse is rotten, I can guarantee you that the relationship with Hashem is rotten. Because they can't work. Oh, here I'm righteous and over there I'm not. It doesn't work like that. Okay. And then we have Ha'esrim V'Teisha, the 29th thing to remember. Sheyiskar v'yizbonen al bnei Adam v'yireh sheyesh Adam echad shakol ke'elef acherim. Ve'ein zeh machmas haguf, ela machmas tvunaso v'chachmaso v'tzidkaso. L'chein tizor al takanas nishmascha, ki kol hama'alos hein mimena. Ki im haya Adam chazik v'bari v'yifei toar. She'ein bo mum lo haya shaveh klum. Imu shaita. Ve'im haya adam mechor v'chalosh v'hu muflag b'chachma hu ole ligdula ulachashivos. He says an amazing thing. We mentioned this previously, but it's an amazing thing. He says the 29th thing to remember. Your value is not your external. Your value is your internal. You could be the most handsome, beautiful person in the world, but if you're empty inside, you're worthless. And if you are an ugly person, Hashem didn't gift you with good looks. Hashem didn't gift you with wealth. Hashem didn't gift you with all the great gifts. But you've invested that internally you're filled with spirituality, with holiness, with Torah. The greatness, the holiness goes beyond measure. We take, sadly, the world out there is very external. Everything is superficial. And sometimes the only thing you need, they say, People will think you're smart till you open your mouth. And then they know you're not. Right? It's like sometimes people, from the outside, they look like presentable. And then you just hear the silliness that comes from their mouth. It's not, there's no intellect. Okay? That's more important, to invest in our wisdom, in our holiness, in our purity, in our spirituality, and in our knowledge to learn things. It's very easy. I was just talking to somebody today about this. We were talking about how there are certain social media apps we don't have on our phone. I don't have any now. No social media on my phone. Why? Because Yetzer Hara is very smart. Yetzer Hara is very smart. The evil inclination makes it so that it's addictive. So you start seeing one short and then another short, and then you see Rabbi Wolbe's short. Swipe. Move it on to the next one. No, right? But you see these shorts and one leads to the next, and there's this whole algorithm preparing the next one for you, and the next one, then the next one. So that you never stop. It becomes addictive. I don't want to be addicted to anything. I deleted the app. Finished. Goodbye. Deleted it. We have to recognize that it's very easy to get caught up in this world. But it's important not to. That's way number 29. Way number 30, the 30th thing to remember. And this is the final one. Sheyizkor im Adam ba el eretz nochriya v'lo hikir sham shum Adam ve'ein shum Adam akiro v'chamal olav adonai ha'medina v'nasan lo mezono b'chol yom v'yom. Imagine someone travels to a foreign land, doesn't speak the language, doesn't know anybody. Nobody acknowledges him, nobody pays attention to him, except the minister of the country says, come, we're going to give you a home, we're going to give you food, we're going to take care of you. And he warns him, he says, I'm going to give you this, but if you rebel against me, you do some tren de aragua on me, v'lo yavar al mitzvoso, v'odio gmul tov al avodaso, v'izhiro al nisio, v'lo hodio ha'es, be'emes ha'eved hazeh chayav lihikona, v'lazov hagavo v'yachkor al avodas hamelech, v'ma yasir etzono v'yoav ger kamo, v'yishtadel laharbes ba'avodas Adonai Hamedina, mipnei she'ein lo chomel sheyifka ba'ado. So he says, he warns him not to rebel against him and transgress his commands, and informs him of good rewards for his service, and exhorts him concerning his inevitable exit, without specifying the time. In truth, you have to let me know. You can't just, don't just disappear on me. Such a servant would have to humble himself and abandon pride and give thought to the king's service to see how he could do the king's will so that the king would love him even though he is a stranger. Do whatever you find. Curry favor. Follow the law. V'yishtadel, and he'll exert himself to increase his service of the ruler of the land. Mipnei she'ein lo chomel sheyifka ba'ado. Having no one else merciful to intercede on his behalf. Right? I don't have any lawyers. I'm not going to give me due process. No one's going to give me due process. I'm an alien here. I don't have any rights. Okay. Kain be'emes ha'adam gar ba'olam. He says, same is exactly the case in this world. Ki kishiyagi azman say solavira olam. When a person comes to this world, im hoyu mishtadlim kol olam lahakdimo rega ola acharo. He says, the truth is that a man comes into this world as a stranger, and his arrival time into this world comes, and if the entire world tried to advance it or delay it by one moment, or to bind one of his limbs, they wouldn't be able to. And likewise, once he is born, no one but Hashem can sustain him. Living in a miracle, in a total miracle. I can tell you this, knowing how Tinoch ben Meira, right now, is sustained on what? Doctors? No. It's the hand of Hashem. We have to recognize this every single moment of our lives. We're just as vulnerable as that 1.8 pound baby. We're just as vulnerable. But we get confidence. We get cocky and we're like, oh, me, I'm strong and I got muscles and I have, no, nothing. We're just as vulnerable as that little baby. V'hu ki yachid she'en lo chaver, v'kanochri she'en lo makir ki im adonov, ve'en lo chomel ki im boro. You have to know that the only one who is totally there with us at all times, 100% of the time, is the Almighty Creator of heaven and earth. Hashem is there with us all the time. Hashem is there with us through thick and thin. Hashem is there with us through ups and downs. Hashem is there with us through happy and sad. Hashem is there with us through healthy and sick. Hashem is there with us every moment of our lives. And the only one who can bring us success, the only one who can bring us salvation, the only one who can give us joy and take it away is the Almighty. Very important thing. And this concludes the list, the magnificent list of 30 things that the author of the Orchos Tzaddikim tells us to always remember. So this concludes day number 109.
You've been listening to Rabbi Aryeh Wolbe on a podcast produced by Torch, the Torah Outreach Resource Center of Houston. Please help sponsor an episode so we can continue to produce more quality Jewish content for our listeners around the globe. Please visit torchweb.org to donate and partner with us on this incredible endeavor.